Hey, greatness. No, hold on. Hey, greatness. Welcome to our conversation. I'm Sister Mathina. And before I deep dive into our conversation today, which is about yes and more, please, I do want to ask you all, how has this been resonating with you? I would love to hear from you. You can head over to nisanova.com to learn more about what we have coming up next. But reach out to us on social media. Drop a message below this video, or you can find us at Becoming Nova on Instagram. Okay, Becoming Nova on Instagram. So let's hop into our conversation. Our conversation today is about yes and more, please, and seeing yes and more, please as a leadership practice. But here's where yes and more, please came from in my life. It was a mentor of mine who we had said something, and I can't even remember exactly what it was, but it was something that we was like, oh my God, that's amazing. Yes. One of those moments. And she said, yes and more, please. And it stuck with me and it sat in me for so many years now. And as I think about what I'm currently building in this season of my calling, and I reflect on many of the leaders in my community, many of the women who are building their own spaces even, and the community and the culture that they're seeking to have thrive. And if any of you are an entrepreneur, or you're even if you're working a job but you got a side hustle, whatever it is, if you are building something and you're going through life seeking to curate good in the world, then you may resonate with this yes and more please concept. And so for me, yes and more please became more than something I just say when something good happens. It has become an opportunity for me to center permission, discernment, and even responsiveness, right? It has become more than just an affirmation or me trying to manifest something or being super positive, right? It is attentive leadership. And I say that because I'm going to, you know me, I'm going to give y'all a few points, right? The first point for me here is, and if you don't know me, welcome, friend. Hey. But our first point here is this concept of really looking at yes and more, please, as attentive leadership, and the gratitude concept allowing us to be able to discern what we're experiencing in the experience of others. So it's more than just saying, I'm really thankful for whatever it is I just got. It goes way beyond that. Instead, I want us to kind of look at yes and more, please, as the opportunity to ask a thought-provoking question. When you look at yes and more, please, and you say, and you're saying it, it is saying, okay, what am I being shown? And what is it that I'm saying deserves to be amplified in my life or in my experience, or in the life or experience of others? When something amazing happens, like whether it's you got a check you weren't expecting, or you found out great news for a loved one in your life, that the goal that they've been working on, they've been able to accomplish, and you say yes and more, please, the discernment says this insert thing is showing up in my life and it deserves to be amplified. So what is that thing? And yes can be the recognition of the good, absolutely, but the more please, and more please is about stewardship. Yes and more please says, I recognize and I affirm that this is something good and amazing and juicy and I love it. The and more please is about stewardship. You're literally looking for patterns and saying to yourself, I want more of this thing because I have the capacity to hold it. Does that make sense? Y'all with me? Drop the comments in the chat if you're with me and let me know that this is landing and resonating. When I take a look at what keeps showing up here, and I'm asking that question, and I'm looking at all of it, because if I say and more please, it's saying I have the capacity to hold it, so it's not draining me, it's energizing me. And it's not curating for me any feelings that I feel out of alignment. And even if it stretches me, I'm saying yes and more, please. I'm open to the stretching because I know it actually increases my capacity. So from that lens, gratitude becomes a filter for wisdom and not just obligation. And two, it is saying, excuse me, it is saying not that I'm greedy. It's saying, here's information for what resonates with me, and I want to see and experience more of it. Because if you look at it from that lens, it is offering you as a leader, my sister, that wanting more of something good does not make you ungrateful. It makes you awake, aware, and that you're saying yes and more, please, because you can honor what is, and you don't have to silence the fact that you want to grow, that you desire more, and that you can have the capacity to hold it. So when you look at this phrase from the lens of leadership, yes, I'm adjusting myself in my chair. When you look at this phrase from the lens of leadership, that desire becomes information or data. Right? It begins to tell us more about what we're experiencing. And if you think about it from all of the senses, what did you feel in that experience? What was the tactile emotion that comes up? So the tactile feeling, yes, and the emotion that comes up. When you feel it in your body, where does it show up? Is it in a joy-centered space? And you want more of that. That's okay. It's not even just okay, it's necessary. Because what we protect, what we scale and grow, what we advocate for, those are all critical components for us to stop apologizing for what we want, celebrating it, and saying, I'm willing to listen to my yes and more, please. The third and final thing, as we talk about listening, is that you're not just listening for you, you're listening for your community, right? You're listening as a leader for that yes and more, please, for yourself and for others. And sometimes it will sound like questions, all right? Can I have more clarity? Or can we have more clarity? That's what your community is asking for. Or can we slow this down, right? As a trainer or a speaker, I give my audiences permission to slow me down, to say, Mathina, this is so good and this is so delicious, yet I need more time to unpack that, right? Can we do this again? That means my audience is saying to me, right? Yes and more, please, but can we slow the pace of this that you're offering to me so that I can actually harness the power of what I'm receiving? And I'm specifically thinking about, I train leaders who and organizations who desire to manifest storytelling and to steward storytelling within their organization. So often they're manifesting the skill, and yet they're learning to harness and repeat the skill within their organizations to amplify their impacts and make connection with their communities around the true impact of their work. And so when I'm training them, they think they're coming in for a basic storytelling class or how to tell a story. And what I'm giving them is a culture for storytelling to build into the infrastructure of their organization. I'm teaching them everything from hiring and how storytelling works there to how do they actually curate their listening for the stories that are coming from the organization. So that's what I mean by yes and more, please. That as leaders, we're listening for what our community is saying. And I want you to hear what they're asking us to offer when they're asking us, can I hear that again? Or they're asking us for us to slow something down so that they can consume it in a way that allows them to then implement it, right? They might need to hear it a little bit differently. Now, when that comes, sometimes it shows up a little bit, or it's disguised as frustration. And we begin looking at frustration as failure. Frustration isn't always failure. Frustration can also be information, and there's a misaligned yes in that information. So they're ready to say yes, but they need us to slow down, because sometimes that yes is still a little misaligned because they have a lack of clarity. And the clarity we want to offer allows us to be kind enough to be able to say, I got you. Let me offer it to you a little bit differently. One of my favorite surahs or chapters out of the Holy Quran is Surah 94, chapter 94. And in it, it talks about ease and difficulty. And surely with difficulty, there is ease, right? And when I think about that in a leadership context and using gratitude, right, as part of that conversation, when you think about with difficulty comes ease, it's not about bypassing what's hard. It's not about bypassing what's hard. Actually, it's about trusting that even when there is friction that may be frustrating you, there is also data, information, instruction in that. Okay? Let me say it one more time. That this is not about bypassing things that are hard or difficult. It's about trusting that in that friction, there is information and instruction that will allow you to even have gratitude inside of the frustration. Okay? Gratitude doesn't erase frustration. It sits alongside it. And it says, ask better questions. Go deeper. One of our upcoming sessions, I'm going to talk about this. I've been saying it for some time, so many years. And that is that your excavation is as high, or your elevation is as high as your excavation is deep, right? So I'm going to come back and talk about that. But talk to yourself about, what is this moment teaching me, protecting me? What boundary is it requesting of me? And what capacity is being outgrown, so that you can steward your leadership in a way that allows you to evolve it, especially when it's no longer sufficient for the time that you are in. Yes and more, please, becomes, can I honor this thought and still want to be better? Can I honor this experience and still want to be better? Can I honor this experience and still want more, please? That is a more mature leadership framing that we can lean into. So I wanted to just talk a little bit about that, because yes and more, please, isn't just baseline gratitude, thank you so much. It's also an acclaim to the fact that you can steward more. Is that helpful? All right. So I wanted to keep this one brief. I know we've been having some longer sessions, but I really wanted us to have the opportunity to have a conversation about this. Let me know what y'all think. Let me know if this concept is resonating with you, if it feels aligned. Drop a comment below. Let me know. And I look forward to talking to you soon.